effective communication in sciences. I'll be talking on positive email exchanges with faculty, with professors, and with anyone else. So uh, let's start it. I'll share my screen. Just give me a few seconds. Okay, so this is the overall title, and we'll directly jump to today's session on positive email exchanges. Emails have become a very important medium in today's world. If you have just started with emails and other things, and you would have looked into your mobile phones or laptops on the email apps. So Gmail is like the most common medium to exchange emails. Apart from this, Yahoo is another thing, and then many people also use Outlook because it provides several more features which makes emailing and tracking the emails very easy. So without doubt, this is the best medium for you to get good results. And to get good results, we need to understand the nature of the emails, whether they are formal or informal. Now, what you would have studied in your school about letter writing. So email is nothing but a letter, an electronic letter, hence it's called email. So the tone of email is very important. If you're sending it to some official purpose or for some applications or to your faculty, then it needs to be a formal email. To your friends and relatives, it can be informal. The advantage with emails is that you can attach your documents, your CV, your SOP, your cover letters, your motivation letters along with the email. Just a minute. So these documents remain attached to the email, and it can be sent to any number of people. I assume that most of you have been using emails, so I don't need to go into the very basics of emails. But a few points which need to be kept in mind is you need to reply as early as possible, and also you need to follow up on all these emails. So moving on to what are the components of a good email. And some people are joining now, and I have to admit them. Sorry for the disturbance. So we were on the components of a good email. An email has a specific address. So in the to section, you need to put in the email address of the person who you are sending this email to. Then there is CC, and there is another option of BCC. You won't need a BCC at this moment, but CC is generally used when you have to copy someone else. Usually when you are mailing to a professor, you can put his lab email ID in CC, or his lab head or director or something like this. So CC stands for carbon copy. Then subject is very important, of course. Then when you start the email, you need to start with a salutation, like where we say, dear sir, dear madam, hello, hi, and so on. Now for formal emails, we usually start with dear. Hello and hi are usually not used. Hello can be used when you have exchanged a few emails and then you have become you have got to know each other. So hello can be used then, but hi is strictly avoided in case of formal emails. Then greeting like suppose it's some holiday season or if it's some festival, then you can just in one line wish the person, but it's optional. Then we have an opening paragraph. Opening paragraph is very important. In that 2 or 3 line, you have to introduce yourself and you have to state the purpose of the email. So if I'm reading your email, I should know in the first 3 lines why you are writing this email to me. Then you can move to a detailed paragraph and you can conclude it. Finally, acknowledge the person, thank the person, and then sign off. I'm sharing a typical template. Okay, if you can see the screen, this is how a typical formal email looks like. So once you have put the email address in the to section, then you need to put the subject, and the subject should be very clear and to the point. For example, in this case, application for summer internship 2021. Then start with dear, then the professor's last name. Now, this is where most Indians go wrong. When we write to an Indian professor, it doesn't matter much. They understand this. But if you have to write for, say, summer internship or some particular fellowship in countries outside India, then you need to be very careful. After dear, it's once you write professor, then always use the last name, not the first name. So it should be dear professor and last name. And if you know the person personally, then you can directly write the first name after dear. Then this is the example of the greeting. Hope you are doing good, or you can write, uh, hope you had a great weekend, or wish you a good festive season, or a happy new year, or something like this. So this is the example of an opening paragraph. It should be very concise, should not go beyond 3 to 4 lines, and it should clearly say who you are, and it should also say why you are writing this email. Like, look at this. I am XYZ, and I'm writing this email to express my interest in working as a summer intern in your lab. I'm currently enrolled in a particular university or course, and I fulfill all eligibility conditions mentioned on your lab's webpage. Finish. Do not write anything more. It's not needed. And if you write more, that person may lose interest in your mail. Usually the professors are very busy, and they get hundreds of emails daily. And if they get this feeling that this email is a spam or not of much use, then they may even skip it altogether. So move to the detailed paragraph after that. Mention why you want to, just a minute. Yeah. Mention why you are writing this mail, what you want to do, and how you will do it. And then in the third or the concluding paragraph, you need to mention what all things you have attached so that the person doesn't miss it. So you can write that I have attached my CV and a list of referees, and you would be happy to provide any additional details. Finally, thank the person for his time and patience. And then this part is important. You need to give your full details. So after regards, in this reason,
Please unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry, something went wrong and I went on mute. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So I do not know when I went mute, but probably I was on this. Can someone remind me where I went mute so that I can explain that part again?
Yes, sir. Please go to the next slide.
Okay,
This
thank you.
done.
Yeah, so what I was saying was your email ID should be a decent email ID. It should not be a funny thing or a weird word or character. That gives off an impression that you're not serious about your work or serious about what you will be doing. So use a decent email ID. Do not use words like angel or rowdy or something like this which you want to use with friends. Then salutation. I've already discussed this. Using first name or second name is very important, and you need to know this. So after dear professor or dear Dr. XYZ, that XYZ should be the second name. So usually follow this dear professor and last name, or hello and then first name. Uh, in rare cases, when you do not know the name, you can also write dear sir or dear madam. But that is the glitch here. If you're writing to a professor and you do not write his name, if you just write dear sir, then that person will feel that you have sent a general email to hundreds of professors and you did not bother to find out even his name or her name. So that will give an impression that you have not done your homework well. So it's always advisable to go through the website or the lab's webpage, find out the exact surname with correct spelling, and then shoot the mail. As long as it's the same topic of conversation, try to reply to the mails. Do not start a new mail, but hit reply. And if there are, say, 4 or 5 people in the email, you should reply all. That's the basic courtesy. But again, be careful. Do not reply all. Reply all should be used only when it is needed. Now, once you have composed your mail, take a break. Do not send it straight away. It may have some editing issues. It may have some grammatical errors or some small minor errors, typos, spelling mistakes, and so on. So take a break, reread the mail, edit it, proofread it. If you're not very confident, show it to a friend and then send. Your email is like one opportunity to impress the professor for your summer internship or for PhD or for postdoc or and even for job later on. So do not let that mail go waste. There is no shame in taking help of a friend or a colleague to use proper words and then sending it. Keep fonts uniform, font size uniform. Do not change it. I'll suggest always use black font. No need to use red or highlights unless it's really important. Again, do not use all caps or italics as far as possible. And if you have to send an attachment, say if you have to upload your CV along with the email, be careful to double check that you have already attached. Sometimes I receive mail that please find my CV attached or please find the assignment attached. And I do not see any attachment. So that's a waste. Uh, it's possible that I do not have enough time and I may not tell you that you have missed your attachment, you have missed your CV. And once you have missed that, you lose that opportunity. So you need to remember these uh, tips. You do not become a good email writer in one or two trial, but with time, with practice, and with more suggestions, you get better at it. Now, I'm sharing a typical formal email. Now, I received this for one of the students when he or she applied for the summer research program from the Indian Science Academy. Now look at this. They straight away write, dear sir or madam, one of your student has applied for this program and has given your name for recommendation. In this connection, we would like you to fill it and send it back. Yours sincerely, CS Ravi Kumar, coordinator. Now look at this email. The email is to the point. It's direct. It directly jumps to what it wants from me, and it gives me the link. And finally, it tells who that person is, so that I know to contact him. It's very short. No unnecessary words. Just a moment. Yeah, so no unnecessary words. But this is not how a student should write, since it has come from the office of Indian Academy of Sciences, and they have to mail hundreds of professors during those seasons. So they can choose to ignore some of the aspects. But as a student, you need to improve on this email. So I'm showing you an application which I had sent in the beginning of this year. So look at the points. This is the subject. So application for whatever. You can see in the two, I've written the email ID of that person, and I wanted a copy of this email for myself. So I put my email ID in BCC. Look at this. I could have a relationship wherein I can call that person by name. It's not a very formal mail. So I have used the first name of the person, dear Terence. Next, I have introduced myself. I'm Piyush Kumar, a fellow at this institute. I would like to be a member of whatever the purpose was. I've already filled the online form. Then next line, please find attached my CV, a letter of reference, and copy of the statement uploaded via online form. Then I've written thanks and regards. And look at this. Since I'm writing this email to Terence for the first time, I have used my full name, Piyush Kumar, and then I have given my department address and my informal and official email ID. Another thing is, as I wrote about attaching my CV or the letter of reference, so you can see that they were actually attached. So before sending the mail, I double checked that I have attached these three things. So look at this part, dear Terence, and then here I've written the full name. I'll come back to this mail a bit later, how to reply to these things or what reply you can get. So we'll stop it right here. We have already discussed these parts, and now I'll move to another mail where I applied to register myself for a particular conference or a webinar. Now this need not be so detailed. So I've directly written, dear organizing team. Why this is important? Because I did not know who to send this mail to. Just a minute. Okay, so in this case, I did not know who to send this mail to. So I have directly written, dear organizing team, I would like to register. My details are as follows, thanks and regards. So you do not need to write extra if it's not needed. And look at the reply which they have sent. That's also very short and concise. Dear Piyush, thank you for registration. We confirm your application. See you soon, regards, name. Now coming back to the previous program where I had applied. After I sent this email, I got a reply from that person. Hello. Now look at this. Since her purpose was just to acknowledge my mail and to inform me about the steps taken at that time. So she has written, hello, thank you for submitting the application. Now I have darkened it so because this is not needed for you to see. Now look at the reply. Due to the recent challenges associated with COVID-19, we have made a decision to postpone this program. Your application will still be valid. Please let me know if you have any questions. Best Terence. Now, best is also very commonly used nowadays. So you can write regards or best and then your name. Now, since we have exchanged the email for a few times now, you see that now the entire full name is not needed. The first name is enough. How I replied to this email, it's here. Hi, Terence. Now look at this. Now it's no longer dear. I can be a bit informal in the salutations. Hi, Terence. Thank you for the update. So always thank the person. So what are you thinking? That can come here. So thank you for the update. I totally understand it's time to minimize the infection curve, and postponing the event is good for participants, organizers, and public in general. Take care and be safe. Thanks and regards, Piyush. Now look at this. Now even I don't need to write my full name. So I have simply signed off with a thanks and regards and my first name. So by now you would have understood the tone of an email when you write for the first time, what to expect when you get a reply, and how you should reply to that. Your reply is very important. Your reply suggests that one, you have acknowledged the email, you are courteous enough to reply it, and the words that you choose also shows your character. That email can be used for judging you, for deciding what type of scientist or what type of person or what type of student you are or will be. So choose your words very carefully. Do not use any words for which the meaning is unclear to you, and make it short. That's my only suggestion. I'll just add someone. So that was how you should reply. So in the since many of your college students, applying for summer research is a major part of your curriculum, and I'll advise that as long as possible for you, please go for a summer research program from a good lab. This really helps you to build your CV when you apply for further studies, for PhD, and so on. Now look at this application. I received it from a student from ISER Kolkata. He starts with respected sir. Mm, in India, we do not see anything wrong with that. It's very common. But I'll suggest to avoid it because that is how we write our emails in Hindi, not in English. The student introduces himself very well. See, I'm a first year undergraduate integrated BSMS student studying at ISER Kolkata. I'm looking for a summer project on biochemistry and related topic. I want to learn under your guidance. And then he has written, I have gone through your academic profile page. I would be very fortunate for the opportunity and so on. And then finally he writes, I'm aware of the commitment and perseverance required to give you a better sense of my qualifications. I'm sending my CV and I would be obliged. So he has thanked and everything. Then he has given his full details, yours sincerely. It's not a good habit to disclose the names, so I have darkened it. Then his or her class, the student is also an Inspire Fellow. On paper, on first glance, everything looks good with this email. But the problem with this email is, even though it has written everything, it doesn't give any information about the preparation of the student, what the student wants to do, and how the student, what the student expects to learn from the lab. Look at this. All what is written is the student is looking for a summer project, wants to work under my guidance. He has gone through the academic profile page. That's it. Now, usually, very senior professors will not reply to such mails. There is a very renowned scientist from India, Dr. Shubha Tole from NCCS in Pune, National Center for Cell Sciences. Last week, she came up with uh, an essay on her frustrations with receiving these type of mails where nothing is disclosed. So I'll put that link in the YouTube page. You can go through it. Since I wanted this student to learn, so I sent a reply. So although this has nothing negative in it, but many professors may send just one word, sorry, we do not have an opening right now. In some cases, usually the new faculty will send you a constructive reply. So this is my reply. Dear XYZ, sorry for late reply because I replied it after 3 days. So you need to be courteous even to your juniors when you are late. Look at the comments. Do you have any project in mind? Have you gone through our lab publications? If no, go through them and send me a short write-up on what you would like to do. You have written about biochemistry. This is point 3. Our lab is a dry lab. We do a few wet lab experiments, but what expectations do you have during this short duration of 3 months? And fourth point was, I asked if he had to write a thesis. So you need to put these points, why you're writing to that lab, what do you expect to learn, how will you contribute? Otherwise, that previous email, this email has no meaning. So be careful, take your time, go through lab's profile, and then write a good crafty email. That will help you to get a position in one go. So in the next class, we'll discuss about cover letters and proposals. These are the suggestions for today for positive email exchanges.